All right, so I just hit the record. Welcome to everybody. Nice to see you here, Rhonda, as well. Nice to have you on. Well, everybody, of course, but we tend to get a lot of the same people, which is good because you guys get to know each other a little bit. And I think it's a good community of support and feel like I'm not the only one who feels this way too. All of that. So congratulations for showing up for yourself. So let's just let's see. All right, so we will be talking about demystifying label readings. I will reveal what the big box diet companies don't want you to know. Oops. All right, so we've got opening funnies and shout outs, what the big companies don't want you don't want me to tell you. We'll talk about the macronutrient breakdown. So this is actually a great segue from last week's because we broke that down, all the fat burning foods and all of that. So we'll kind of transfer that information onto this week. So it's actually perfect that we put this particular lesson after last week's. And then I'll go over some buzzwords and ingredient list and how to decipher all of that. And then we'll kind of recap and do a Q&A. So here are some funnies that I thought you might enjoy. Okay, so some shout outs. We got Marlon, she's down about 10 pounds here. Stan, he's down 50 pounds and he's just about done. He's just getting ready to go on his third cleanse, which those results are a little on the high end, but hey, it can happen. And it's typically the men who lose a little bit more. So if you've lost less in 12 weeks, just know that you're okay. Dave is almost at the 40-pound mark, and Thomas is almost at the 20-pound mark. And he's only, I think he's at week 4 or 5. So everybody is doing great. I want to welcome, we got a bunch of new people. We've got Lee and Kara and Ken and Vicky and Carrie and Anjolina and Julia and Cheryl. And congrats to you, Karen, for signing up for the maintenance and continuing education. All right, so I thought these were kind of funny. All right, so, and this is exactly, at some points my clients send me a picture of the product that they know they want to have, but they're not sure if it's on the program or not. Or Tami, what do you think about this? Well, after today's lesson, you will know the answers to those questions. So, so to get your pen out and take some notes. Okay, so we will start with what the big box food companies don't want me to tell you. Number 1, made with whole grains. Now, let me back up a little bit. The front of the, I don't have a label, but the front of any package, it has the front label, but they can kind of say what they want to say on the front. So they can say all the things, they can say some buzzwords, some hot words, some trendy words, that make you think it's healthier or a better version or all of that. But what we really want to do is we want to turn around and we want to look at the nutrition label, which I'll go over with you today, and then break that down and then look at the ingredients list. And then, so we really have the real answers to what's really going on in that product. If the front of it, like my name could be Grace, but doesn't mean I'm graceful. So their name could be Organic Farms. It doesn't necessarily mean they are organic. They might be, they might not be. That just might be the name of the company. And it sounds healthier. So be warned that kind of the stuff that you see on the front is there to get you to buy their product. They're running a business. At the end of the day, it's all about the bottom line. So when something says made with whole grains, that may or may not be good, but you want to just make sure it's 100% whole grains. Because 100% whole grains means that there are all of the whole grains are whole. So it could have, some 100% whole, but some of the other grains are not whole and highly processed. And this would be a carbohydrate. And this, if it's made with just grains, processed grains like wheat flour and white flour, it's very likely high glycemic, and it's very likely to spike you into that high blood sugar mode and that fat storage mode. So made with whole grains doesn't always mean it is better for you. You really want to look for 100% whole grain, or made with 100% whole grain. Oops. The next one, cholesterol free. It's not bad if it says that, and it might be a very good, it might be a very healthy product. But if your doctor has told you that your cholesterol is high and you need to watch your cholesterol, and you're looking at all these, like, say, peanut butters or almond butter that's sitting on the shelf, and you're looking for one, and there's one that over here that says cholesterol free, and it might be $1 more or 50 cents more, or, it's a little bit more expensive, but you're like, well, my doctor just told me I need to watch my cholesterol. I better get that one because, that'll help with my cholesterol. Well, guess what? Anything plant-based, like peanut butter or nut butter of any kind, never had cholesterol in it. So just because it says cholesterol free doesn't mean it's any better than the other product sitting right next to it that's $1 cheaper. So again, cholesterol free doesn't mean it's bad, but it also doesn't mean, or doesn't necessarily mean, it's better. So plant-based food items, if it says cholesterol free, ignore that and don't pay extra for it, because it never had cholesterol in the first place to begin with. So it's not really a better product in that case. All natural. This is very misleading, and it's leading us to believe that it's all natural, which should be healthier. But there are no specific rules that state what their product has to be made of or not made of to be able to state that. There's no guidelines for that. So pretty much anybody can say that. And if anything, started with a product that originally was natural, and they could still process it, and they could still call it all natural. And when I see all natural, I'll tell you what, the little red flags go up in my mind, because that tells me there's probably sugar in it. That I tend to think it's, there's going to be sugar in it, and sugar's all natural. Organic's another word. I don't know if it's on my list, but you can get organic sugar. We don't want that either. Just because something's stated or it's organic doesn't mean it's necessarily a good choice for us. Organic just means that they can't use synthetic pesticides on there. So it might be good, but it's not always. Plant-based. This one, you asked me about this, Jane, a couple of weeks ago, I think. And I'm not, just be clear, everybody, I am not saying plant-based is bad. I'm just saying it's not always, doesn't always mean, or, you're not guaranteed it's a better product. And one of my great examples, they had a plant-based salad dressing. There's a plant-based salad dressing. It was in one of these bags, and it's all plant-based, and you're thinking, oh, well, that must be healthier. But if I looked at the ingredients, I would see there's soybean oil in there, and there's, other chemically things in there, or that seemingly chemically. But soybean oil is plant-based, but it is not healthier for us. So, and we talked about the plant-based meats. For me, it's just it's made it's made in a factory. It's not going to help the carbon footprint. I don't think those factories leave a footprint of their own. I would say just eat the real food. Eat the real food. Plant-based, not always your best choice. Now, vegetables in general, that's your biggest bang for your buck as far as nutrition. As you guys know, you've been in this program long enough, everybody here on this call, you're counting your calories. And when you're eating vegetables, there's hardly anything in them compared to your carbs and your protein and other items that you're eating. So, but that's your biggest bang for your buck for your anti-aging, your nutrition, your minerals, your vitamins, all of that stuff. Gluten-free, just like cholesterol-free. A lot of the products never had gluten in it in the first place. Now we are off gluten for the first 12 weeks, just because a lot of people have digestive issues with gluten, and we're just trying to get a lot of this stuff out of our system, give the system a break. So we do want to go gluten-free, but generally speaking, sometimes they put gluten-free on the front of the package just to get us to buy it. Say, oh, gluten-free must be, because gluten-free was all the buzz. That was a couple of years ago. Everything had to be gluten-free. And not everybody has an issue with gluten. A lot of people do, but not everybody. But it doesn't mean a lot of, like I said, with the cholesterol, it may have never had it in the first place. Sugar-free versus no sugar added. And this is not a guarantee either. So this is why we need to read our ingredients. But sugar-free typically means that there are sugar substitutes, the chemical ones, to sweeten that product. No sugar added usually means that there's the natural sugars, the sweeteners like monk fruit, stevia, or even xylitol. It's not a guarantee, but this is why it's really important to turn that thing around. We're going to look at that label, which I'll go over soon, and then we'll break it all down into your macros, and then we'll look at our ingredients list so we'll know if this item is good or not. The 5%, 20% rule. I just wanted to put that in here because if you're looking to get more of something or less of something, like say you want to get more vitamin D in your system, for example, and if something has 20% or more of your daily value of your vitamin D, that would be considered a good source. It's a rich source of vitamin D. If it has less than 20%, it's not a rich source. It might have some in there. It might have 10% or 7% or 5% or 2% or whatever, but it wouldn't be considered a rich source. Or say if you're looking to lower your fat and it's 5% or less, then that would be a good choice for you. If it's over 5%, then it's not going to be low. It's not be considered a low fat item. Low fat should be on this list as well. Not all low fat items are your friend, and typically, like in salad dressings, the low fat salad dressing just means they have added sugars. They have to, fat is a flavor and sugar is a flavor. So if they took out the fat, which people like the flavors of fats, they have to make up for that somewhere or they're not going to sell their product. So if something says low fat, we really want to look at those ingredients and see if it's still a good choice or not. But low fat is not always our friend because they do often add sugars to that. All right, so let's dig into the nutrition label. The first thing you want to know is what is a serving size. This is probably the most important piece. I was just looking at another video just to get some more ideas of things I want to say to you guys. And the guy was looking at those, what is it called? Lenny and Larry's cookies. Lenny and Larry's, I don't know. You usually find them in the sports nutrition stores, and they're supposedly high protein. But if you look at a serving size on those, because those cookies are pretty big, a serving size is half a cookie. But if you're not paying attention, and it seems obvious, like a cookie should be one serving, right? or even a can of soda or a bottle of soda. Same thing. We think, oh, this has got to be one serving, right? No, it's 2.5 servings per that bottle. So you're getting 2.5 times the calories, 2.5 times the fat, 2.5 times the carbohydrates, 2.5 times of all the other stuff. So you really, really, really want to know what a serving size is. That's really important. And then what a serving size is, when it shows you the calories, number 2, the blue one, those calories are for a single serving, or what they've decided is a serving. It's not what's recommended by FDA or anybody else. The company makes up their own serving size. That's why those pre-made bowls of brown rice that we get at Costco, it's in a bowl. You think, well, that's one bowl is one serving. That bowl is 3 servings. So you're getting 3 times the calories. You're getting 3 times the calories and 3 times all the carbs and everything else. So your calorie counts will be for whatever they've decided is a serving. And then in the green area here, we've got your fats, your carbohydrates, and your proteins. Those are your macronutrients. So this particular product, it has 8 grams of fat. And it right across it has 10% of the daily value. And it's usually based on a 2,000 calorie diet. So 10% is in the middle between 5 and 20. So you would not consider this a high in fat or low in fat item. Does that make sense? As far as the percentage, that's just the daily value based on a 2,000 calorie diet. So this thing has 8 grams of fat. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to my ingredients list, and I'm going to look for things that are fats. And so if I see there are nuts in there, or it's made with avocado, or they put olive oil in it, I'm like, okay, that's actually a very good choice. I like all those things. But if it has 8 grams of fat and I see soybean oil, or I see palm kernel oil, and I see, butter or something like that, I might rethink it, because I know that's going to be some of the wrong kinds of fats. And then carbohydrates. Carbohydrates, now see on here, this is a great example. So carbohydrates break down into several categories. So this particular item has 37 grams, excuse me, of carbohydrates. Now when you're, what happened? Oh, what did I do? Has 37 grams of carbohydrates. It has 4 grams of fiber. Fiber is a carbohydrate. Sugars are a carbohydrate. And of course, added sugars are a carbohydrate. And also sugar alcohols fall under the carbohydrate category. So when you're looking at net carbs, for this particular item, if we took 4 minus the 37, that would give us 33 net carbs. Say, for example, this item also had 10 grams of sugar alcohols, like erythritol or xylitol or something like that. We would minus 10 from that 33, and then it would give us 23 net carbs. So that's how you figure out your net carbs. You minus out the fiber and you minus out the sugar alcohols. This particular product doesn't show us anything about sugar alcohol, so it doesn't have any. But what's problematic for me is, so say this thing has 12 sugars and it doesn't say anything about added sugars, which they have to say, by the way. So if you're reading a product that doesn't tell you about added sugars or not, they have to tell you that if there's added sugars. But something like a tomato paste or a tomato based, there's naturally occurring sugars in tomatoes, but they didn't necessarily add a sugar. But if they added a couple of tablespoons of actual sugar to that tomato paste or that tomato sauce, that's where they've got to tell you on there. And that's what I want us all to avoid at as much as humanly possible. Because every time I see added sugars, where did it go? Every time I see added sugars, I want you to think about this. Fat storage, fat storage, fat storage. We do not want added sugars. And I'm not saying we're never ever going to have sugar. Sometimes, you know, it's going to be somewhere. It's going to be, you know, in a restaurant salad dressing, or, you know, life happens on some levels. But if we're in, you know, trying to take control of our own diet, and we're picking and choosing what we put in our basket at the grocery store, you do definitely want to avoid these added sugars. What else do I want to say about that? And so here's a good example. So where it says added sugars, it's got 10 grams. And by the way, for every 4 grams is a teaspoon. So this would have over 2 teaspoons of actual sugar in it. Like, just imagine taking a teaspoon of sugar. You don't want to do that. It's fat storage, right? So, but this item has 20% of the daily value. And again, that's on a 2,000 calorie diet. If you're a smaller person, it's going to be actually higher. But 20%, remember the 5%, 20% rule. This would mean it's a rich source of sugar. So I would say no to that product for that reason, because that's going to be anything 20% or higher is considered, it's high in that. If it's high in vitamin D or something that we want, that's wonderful. But if it's high in sugar, that's something we don't want, that's not wonderful. What else? Does anybody have any questions on this?
What did you say to deduct from the net carbs?
So your total carbohydrates is going to be at the top. And then the next thing down is always fiber. So you're going to minus fiber, because your body doesn't absorb the fiber. The fiber just pushes the food through your veins or through your intestines. So fiber is 1, and sugar alcohols is 1.
Okay.
But most products don't have sugar alcohols, but maybe for you it does, because you guys are savvy now. You're looking for stuff without sugar. But we like a sweet thing here and there. That's what we want. We just don't want to be in fat storage mode. So we would probably have more things in our cabinet that have sugar alcohols, unless they bother you. Sugar alcohols can bother 20% of the population and cause bloating, diarrhea, stuff like that. The reason why protein never has the daily value, whereas everything else does, is because everybody's different. Every body is different. I will tell you guys the general rule, especially if you're looking for weight loss and to not lose lean body mass while you're in a calorie deficit. Take your desired weight and times that by 0.7. And that's how much protein you should have. So just for fun here, where's my calculator? So somebody, that's 150 pounds, for example, times 0.7, they need about 105 grams of protein per day. And I would say spread it out through the day for weight loss specifically. So if you're having 25, 25, 25, and 25, that would be great. That would be ideal. All right, so your item it says there's a lot of carbs in there, right? So now we see, oh, that nutrition label had 37 grams of carbs, which for me is, it's high. I consider that anything over 20, 25, especially if it doesn't have any fiber in it, I consider that high. But we're going to look over, and you see things like enriched flour, white flour, wheat flour, bleached flour. Those are going to be some of the things that I would say, oh, red flag, turn it away, go away. No, I don't want that. I put up here instant. I was kind of referring to oatmeal. Oh, I said it. Oatmeal or rice. We want to avoid that. That's going to make it a higher glycemic item. It's processed and it will spike your insulin levels, and turn it into a fat storage product. So if this product that you're buying has the 37 grams, but it also has some fiber, and we see the words like stone ground, these are words we want to see. And this will be when you guys bring bread back, if you even decide to bring bread back. But you want 100% whole grain, not just whole grain. That's not good enough. You want 100% whole, which is again going to give you the fiber. Buckwheat is low glycemic. That's really good to have in your food or your bread. Your whole grain rye. If you see sprouted grains, sprouted is a really good buzzword you want to see on your, and guys, if you want to take a screenshot of this, you can with your phone, or you can email me and I'll give you the whole buzzword list. But send me an email and I'll show you my email at the end if you don't have it. Flourless is another good word. We want words like cassava flour, that's good, almond flour, coconut flour. Those are all going to be much lower on the glycemic index. They're going to put you right in that fat burning zone and keep you out of that fat storage zone. We want to keep our carbs in portion control because even the lower glycemic things can spike if we're having too much. If you eat too much food, period, it can spike your blood sugars. But if you're eating too many carbs, for sure, it can spike your blood sugars. Arrowroot flours, anything that has vinegar, cinnamon, or lemon on it will also lessen the glycemic impact of the food, which can help you maintain that fat burning zone and not pop up into that fat storage zone. So these are kind of, and this is very simplistic, guys. This is just basic stuff. But I just want you to be aware of it. So then just sugars. We see, okay, there's sugar. The most common ones, and I do have a sugar list. Again, if you email me, I'll attach that as well. The most common ones are high fructose corn syrup, evaporated cane juice, brown rice syrup, beet sugar, corn syrup solids or corn syrup, very, very high glycemic. Sucrose, dextrose, anything that ends in OSE is a sugar. And honey. Honey can be healthy, have some good health benefits, but it's all over the map with the glycemic index. So for now, let's just avoid it. The things we do want to see on our list, you know this item is sweet, monk fruit, stevia, with another name for stevia is Reb A or Reb B. Coconut sugar is still a sugar, so be mindful. Date syrup, this is also a sugar. Maple syrup, also a sugar. So these are lower on the glycemic index, but they're still sugars. And then sugar alcohols, anything that ends in TOL, like erythritol or xylitol or maltitol. Those are natural, but again, they can bother some of your digestive systems. And low glycemic index, it doesn't mean it's, that's these guys, number 3. Those are not free of sugar, they're just lower. The ones you want to avoid, aspartame, those are blue packets, your sweeteners. Sucralose is your yellow packets, the Splenda, and then saccharin. All right, so then we looked at our label and it had, what did it have? 8 grams of fat, right? So we're going to look on our list. We're going to look down below. And if we see things like, oh, it's got sunflower seeds, or it's got chia seeds, or it's got, flax seeds, or nuts, or nut butters. Okay, it's got almond butter, it's got cashew butter, it's got sunflower seed butter. Okay, those 8 grams of fat is probably a good choice. Oh, this thing is made with mostly avocado. Well, then it's a good choice. Avocado, olive, or coconut oil, if that's kind of its primary thing. Now, the ingredients are listed from most to least. So if we got avocado oil at the top and soybean oil at the bottom, that means it has the most of all the ingredients, it's got the most of the avocado oil. But if that's switched, it means if the soybean oil is at the top of the list and it's got a drop of avocado oil, and they'll do that. They'll say on the front label, remember this front label, they can say what they want, made with avocado oil. You're like, finally, they know how to make it healthy. And I've done that, and they've even fooled me on that. I get it all the way home, and then I turn around and look at it, and soybean oil is at the top of the list. And at the way bottom of the list, they put a drop of olive oil. So did they lie to me? No, it's in there, but it's only a drop, whereas they got mostly the soybean oil, and they really did a number on me. And that's what these big diet companies don't want me to tell you. If your item has, eggs in it, like egg yolks in particular, that could be a good fat. Your grass-fed butter or ghee, these are going to be good fats. Again, your soybean oil, palm kernel oil, that's a trans fat, very bad. Shortening, same thing. Hydrogenated or partially hydrogenated oils of any kind. These are going to be your margarines. So we want to avoid those. Those are going to be trans fats. And they invented margarine to help us with our cholesterol, because butter was a saturated fat, but trans fat is worse than saturated fat. We can have some saturated fats, but we should avoid, like the plague, the trans fat. Large, and as I stated, margarine. Something has margarine in it, pass. It's one molecule different than plastic, and your body doesn't know what to do with it. That's why we get so much sludge in our gut, because we eat in this fake stuff in these foods that, man-made foods. The fake foods, don't eat the fake foods. The body doesn't even know what it is and gets stuck in our body, and they say it's sometimes years. So that's why these cleanses can be very helpful. All right, so we got proteins. So if your item has, it's got protein in it, I want to look at it. If it's all nuts, that's concerning to me, because nuts are not a complete protein. Protein, when it breaks down into aminos, but you need all 9 essential aminos to make a complete protein. So beans are not a complete protein. But if you look at a can of beans or a package of nuts, they're going to tell you, oh, it's got all this protein in it, but it is not a complete protein. Now, what happens is, like a peanut butter and wheat bread sandwich, for example, or rice and beans, they can complement each other because they each carry the missing aminos, so it makes it complete. But in the case of rice and beans, now you're carbo loading, and it's very low in protein anyway. You're only going to get about 7 or 8 grams when we need to get, 20 or 25 grams in that meal. So just be mindful of those kinds of things. Animal proteins are all complete, whether it's like fish or chicken or eggs, seafood, that sort of stuff. Soy protein, that's a hormone disruptor, so we don't want you on that. If you are vegan and don't want to do any animal protein, or just can't tolerate it, I would say go for a pea protein versus any kind of soy protein. It's going to be a better choice. The vegan proteins tend to not taste as good. They tend to be a little chalkier. But if you can't tolerate, the whey for whatever reason, then that's what you got to do, because you want to get your protein. That will help you maintain your lean body mass. And the more lean body mass we have, the faster the metabolism goes. So we don't want to skip on that. All right. So let's see here. All right. So we talked about looking at the calories on the nutrition labels. That doesn't tell you the whole story. Just because this thing is 230 calories, is it a good choice or is it a bad choice? I don't know yet. I'm going to see that it's got grams of fat. We want to see where that fat's coming from. I see it's got carbohydrates. We want to see where those carbs are coming from. We see it's got protein. We want to see where it's coming from, because if it's nuts, I wouldn't really count it. You know what I mean? Or if it's, seeds, I wouldn't really count it. To me, it's bonus protein, because you're going to get an amino acid somewhere that might make it complete, but this thing's very low in protein, as you can see. But you got to know your serving size. You want to look at your fats, your carbs, your proteins to determine your net carbs. You take the total carbs minus your fiber and minus your sugar alcohols. That equals your net carbs. Next time you're at the grocery store and they do this for you, they do the math right there for you on the low carb tortillas. So take a look at it because they usually actually show you the math. They don't usually have the sugar alcohol, so it won't give you that piece, but anyway, so hopefully that helps. So here is my email address, coach.platinumwellness@gmail.com. If you would like me to send you the sugar list, the complete sugar list of all, what is it, 50 or 60 sugar names, and also the whole buzzword list, I can just respond to your email with the attachment. And then my homework for you guys would be to go into your pantry or go into your refrigerator, taking those lists with you and see what you have. So look, because it's a great way to practice. The more you practice this, because you're going to say, oh, that word sounds familiar. And then you look at your list and go, oh, that's on the avoid list, or oh, that's on the enjoy list. And the more you practice that, once you get to the grocery store, you won't need your list anymore because it's common knowledge to you. But the best way to practice is start in your own kitchen. And that is it. Does anybody have any questions? No questions today? It's a quiet day. It's a weird week. I hope you're feeling better, Jane. All right, well, that's all I got for today. Again, email me if you want the list. Otherwise, I will see you guys all next time.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.